Well, a very warm welcome to our next session for this afternoon. Pretty much everybody over the course of our week's broadcasting and indeed today has in some shape or form either referred to or mentioned the Metaverse. So this session is very apt, and we are delighted to be joined by Noam Levavi, the CEO of byondXR. Noam, a very, very warm welcome. You have literally just arrived from Tel Aviv to New York, so thank you very much indeed for getting through the immigration as fast as you did so that you can join us. It's a pleasure to have you with us.
Thank you. It's a pleasure to be here, and thanks for inviting me.
Noam has been involved in, I suppose, what is now called the Metaverse, but maybe before was called VR and all sorts of other technologies for many years, and is an absolute expert in this area, and especially in this area as it relates to retail. But no, maybe you can start off by just giving us a bit of flavor of your journey. I suppose physically, but clearly very virtually in the VR world.
Yeah, sure. So I think it started like maybe more than 30 years ago. When I was a teenager, I went to one of the biggest malls in Tel Aviv back then, and there was like a VR headset that people could try. It was like late 80s. Nobody knew about it, anything. And it was super heavy, and the graphic was poor, very laggy. But this is kind of like gave me an inspiration to think about what's possible and how those type of technology can evolve during the years to create new type of imaginary worlds. And so it started many years ago, and I was thinking about it a lot. My previous venture, we help brands and retailers creating customer experiences, and we help them to build like the biggest video walls in the world. We couldn't get access to the VR, early 20s, but basically what we did is created customer experiences with very large screens. And I think in 2010, Oculus, basically Palmer started Oculus, and I've basically tried all the first VR headsets prototype that they had much before that Facebook bought them, and it's kind of inspired me again to really think about where the technology leads. And a couple of years later, I've founded byondXR with the idea of helping companies and in general people to create content for those VR headsets, which is really challenging. And this is part of what we've been kind of fascinating in how to create better content and better experiences.
Now, how would you say this technology is either impacting retail now or will impact retailing over the course of the next few years?
Yeah, I think that the retail will be impacted enormously in the next few years. I think it's only the beginning. It's just scratching the surface of the immense potential of what can happen to retailers. E-commerce, if you think about it, hasn't been changed for many years. In the past 2 decades, it's pretty much looked the same, all like tedious feeds with images and visuals.
But actually, you make a really good point, because actually, if you look at the Amazon's homepage on day one versus the Amazon homepage today, is not a great deal of difference.
Exactly. Nothing has really changed. I mean, around user experience and the look and feel and the UI and the UX. And I think in the physical spaces, in the brick and mortar, when we go and look at different type of stores, it doesn't matter if it's a fast fashion or a luxury brand, they have their unique experience. It's everything about the brand experience, the way that you create the journey, in the store, and how you organize it, and what type of visuals and sounds and smells, the people are kind of be part of the experience. And you don't have it today in the e-commerce. And I think part of the, you mentioned Metaverse, but basically those type of virtual spaces can create and bring back, the fun and the experience that we have in the physical world, and not in the that doesn't exist today in the digital world. And I think this will impact retail dramatically, and we're going to see new type of stores and new type of experiences and connection to people that we haven't seen before.
I mean, are you of the camp of people that say that the virtual is going to take over from the physical, or do you see an amazing fluidity between virtual, physical, virtual again, back into the physical? Doesn't really matter where you purchase as long as you're within the overall sort of brand experience, be it a metaverse experience or a retail store experience?
So I think retail will not disappear. It will stay here for many years, but it will look probably differently. So today, again, most of the purchases are still happening like in the real physical world, and we see a rise and accelerated pace like in the digital era, and how people are buying more and more from their comfort of their home. But I think this is a transition. We still, again, utilizing just regular mobile devices and desktop. Most people don't have the access to those new glasses, and also there are not a lot to consume there. But in 5 to 10 years, I think we're going to start to see many new type of virtual experiences, and people will start to adopt these new computing platforms. And then it will change again, and people will, it's not, again, will replace the existing physical spaces, but there will be a lot of like fusion, and like before that, on the experience world, you will be able to bring all these physical elements into the digital world, and the opposite. You will be able to walk in a store and have virtual augmented messages and different type of information floating, in front of you in the store. So it will be a mixed reality.
To what extent are sort of glasses going to be a component element of that experience? I mean, many of us have played around with Google Glass when it was first brought out. It made us all look like idiots in a sense. Nobody in their right mind would have been walking down the streets with it. So to what extent is that a barrier to the sort of wide-scale adoption of this type of technology, or is the technology going to change, or will, I don't know, Apple make glasses cool?
Yeah, I think it's a barrier today. I mean, the headsets are still like heavy and ugly, and it's not really convenient, and you can't really, be with a headset for many hours. But the technology is advancing, and I think, as you said, like Apple, everybody's waiting to see what Apple going to release. But it's not only Apple. We know that all the big giant company, technology tech companies are working on their own platform. So it's Facebook and HTC that we all know that, do the VR, but Google and Microsoft and Apple and Samsung and Alibaba and many other companies that build their own platforms to do that. And we're going to see a major shift in consumption. So today it's not convenient, and this is why you don't see a lot of adoption yet. I mean, lack of content, and again, the devices are not really easy to use, but they're really improving like every year. And I think that 3 versions from today's version, it will probably be much more convenient. People will, basically would be able to put like a very small glasses like I'm wearing here, and have all the AR and VR, MR capabilities inside, and it will be much more convenient. So we'll see more and more people starting to adopt this type of glasses. And later stages, probably, we see patents from Apple and other company about like lenses and different type of contact lenses that maybe in the future will also replace the glasses. So it's only the beginning.
And will our ubiquitous mobile phone play a part in that sort of interrelationship between the glass and the device?
So there are rumors that Apple glasses gonna use those iPhone devices to power them. So part of the challenge of building these hardware devices is also where do you put all of this computing power? the GPU and all the different sensors and the capabilities that we have to do in mobile phone, how you fit it, in a very small glasses. So I think we're going to see a transition again. The smartphones might power some of those devices because you have all the powerful, connectivities and all the sensors in the smartphone that we already carry, and they probably might be connected somehow to those new glasses. But eventually, it will be a standalone devices. So again, I think if Apple going to do that, probably is a transition. But we all think about, that we want to basically use one device and not multiple devices when we communicate and consume content.
Now, you've been working with some of the largest cosmetic brands operating in China. Can you tell us a little bit about what you've done and the adoption by the Chinese and Asian consumers?
Yeah, so we've been helping major brands basically creating new type of virtual experiences. So think about a flagship store, that like a physical flagship store that you have somewhere in a foreign country, and you want to let people to visit it from remote. So this is part of what we've started to do with brands like Lancome in China. Created like bringing the flagship stores into the Chinese audience, but also more than that is creating their own like virtual store that fits the local audience. So since it's all virtual and computer generated, you can create any type of store. It doesn't have to be, the type of stores that we used to go to, but it can be a store, on the moon or in some, unique space, and you can create a very unique experience. So part of what we've seen in specifically in China and in other countries is that people are actually looking for kind of like holistic experience. So we bring them into the store. It's part social buying. They get educated about the products. We bring their favorite like influencers and celebrities to be part of the experience. Those like gamification features that, especially in China, we see that people really, really like it. Fun and short games that make the experience better and create a better connection to the brand. So those are type of the things that we also try and see, what actually works and what works better both for the brands and for the audience. And we see amazing engagement from specifically in Asia, in China, and other country.
And is this helping specifically engage a younger audience, which we are all now realizing it's very difficult to engage, especially for long periods of time?
Yeah, so I think that Gen Z, it's a big enigma and a challenge for a lot of the brands, how to reach this younger audience that, they follow trend differently. They utilizing, different type of social media. And we basically enable them to bridge this gap. So a lot of the younger generation, like Gen Z, they all like play games, today on their mobile phones. So they used to this type of environment, interactive environment, immersive 360. It's much easier for them to kind of connect to a kind of like a new type of shopping 360 experience than just a regular feed. So it helps them to bring, younger generation into their own destinations. They can come from their social media channels or other ways they promote it and target them. But eventually, younger generation, we see that they love this type of shopping experience. It's not just about the product, but it's about the experience and the fact that it's sustainable and a lot of younger audience are love this type of gamification features that I have in as part of the shopping experience.
How difficult is it to then construct, in a physical store, you can at least notionally construct what you want the consumer journey to be like going around the store. Some stores like IKEA almost force you to go around the journey they want you to go around. In this sort of virtual world, what's the mindset that you have to put yourself in terms of journey creation, or can you even curate a journey?
I think you can. So it's a very flexible way that you can decide if you want to create it and basically create a specific navigation for the user, or let them maybe pick their own type of a journey. So since it's all computer generated, it's very easy to either to let them follow a specific trail. So you have a zone and you put like an arrow that take you to the following zone or to the following room or following experience. But you can also let them experience it very dynamically and bring them a menu to choose where they want to jump in this like a virtual stores environment, what product they want to select. So each brand can basically decide how they want to build these journeys for their users.
Now, I said earlier you developed this for brands to be used in China. What is it about either the Chinese consumer or the Chinese retail market at the moment that makes this a fantastic arena to be able to experiment in?
Yeah, I think first of all, they're very innovative and open for new things and innovations. And almost all the brands that we talk to, the Fortune 500, brands, they're looking at the Chinese market as their biggest market, or the biggest maybe potential market, if not today. So they want to learn about the behavior and how to approach, the Chinese consumers, and since you have so many people that try those type of experiences, you can actually learn. If you have good analytics and you measure what's happening, you can see what works and what works better for those audiences, and then you can take it to foreign countries as well. So it's a good, I think, I would say, place to also try things and see what works and what doesn't work, and how it might affect different deployments in different markets.
And are you seeing people do a proof of concept in China, learning and then rolling it out into other markets around the world from a sort of a virtual experience perspective?
So I think that lots of companies and brands are looking on the trends that's happening in China, and sometimes they kind of like specifically around commerce and the way that it's evolved in the past few years. It's the biggest market for sure, both for the B2B and the B2C, commerce. There's a lot of new trends of social commerce and how people, buy not on the traditional way, not specifically on destination, through different marketplaces, through different influencers, which I think inspires many other places to look at these new trends and at least test it and see what works on their countries. So not everything that's happening in China, apply to different countries, but definitely there are very unique trends that we see that other places are basically following China on that.
Now, you talked a little bit about sort of the convergence of these things. You talked about trends that have emerged in China, and we've talked about this a lot during our broadcast from when we started on Monday, literally till just the session before yours, which is the growth of live streaming. Tell us a little bit about live streaming in these virtual environments. How possible is it? And actually, can you create a sort of a seamless environment that is bespoke to a brand that contains maybe influencer live streaming, celebrity live streaming, with instant purchase as well?
Yeah. So we've been doing a lot of this year, actually, with live streaming within the stores. Today, again, the live streaming, they usually just utilize the regular camera. So, the way that, I talk here and capture themselves and bring it as on a screen or part of the experience. But it's actually working because those influencers have lots of followers that follow them into the stores on a specific time, and they can promote different type of products they care about or they love, and other people follow them. I think that in the near future, we're going to see a better like embedding of those influencers, either through their avatars in metaverse environments, different virtual stores, or with different type of scanning technology that you can take the real figure and bring it into a virtual space, and then it's a much more immersive type of experience where you can actually feel like you're there with the influencer and not just like watching on a TV screen.
Now, one of the things that somebody a while ago gave me some great advice, which is you've got to start experimenting as early as possible, because the thing that you can't catch up on is the time it takes for you to work out whether something works for your brand or how it works. I'd imagine there's a lot of people watching this that were interested and now become very enthusiastic about working with their brands with metaverse type experiences. Given your expertise in this area, what advice would you give them as to where they should start?
Yeah, I think it's a combination of things. First of all, you have to be open for it and learn and educate yourself. So there's technology is evolving. There's so many different things that happening, recently, and you have to be open for it. There is a lot of old-fashioned type of retailers. Very difficult for them to change their perception or mind of how consumer behave and what would be held in the future. But I think it's better to do it earlier than later, because things are going to change. The e-commerce is changing, and those that will be smart to start early to better understand this new medium and new channels and how to utilize their products and bringing them in the 3D environments. I mean, we see a lot of manufacturers and different type of companies that build today their products in 3D because it saves money and effort, and it's more sustainable. You don't need to create those samples. So it starts from manufacturing, but eventually it will be part of the experience. How you actually bring those products to life and create a new type of experiences that will be create new immersion for your customers. So they have to start it, I think, early. There are different type of platform that emerges that help to create like virtual stores or virtual environment. It used to be that mostly agencies and studio did it before, because there were not a lot of platforms available. But today there are different companies like byondXR and other companies that provide those type of services to help retailers and brands do this kind of start there to experiment this quickly. And since it's all digital and you can actually measure everything, it's very easy to understand what's worked for you and what doesn't work and how to improve it and optimize those experiences.
Well, one final question on measurement. You just said that everything is capable of being measured. What type of metrics do you get out of these virtual experiences, and can you use those metrics to really course correct and improve?
Yeah, so basically, and obviously we have to all follow up, on the GDPR, and there are certain things that we can collect, like for aggregative collections, but we cannot track individuals. So what we can see is basically we track consumer behavior and those experiences. On a two-dimensional feed, there's very limited amount of data that you can collect. On a 3D environment, you can, basically look at the customer's attention, how they behave, where they're going, what type of products they like, what type of interaction they have, how they communicate in those types in environments, what's the navigation and the journey that they select. And you can learn a lot from from this information and basically optimize the stores. And making sure the journey is more optimized and you're giving a better, experience for your customers. So everything is measured, and we bring, and basically you can get the insights out of those measurements to understand how, consumers behave in these experiences.
Well, Noam, thank you very much indeed. We last met in your offices in Herzliya in Israel when we had our WPP Startup Nation Innovation Tour. It seems like an age ago, pre-COVID, pre-lockdown. We will be running our WPP Innovation Tour to Israel again in 2022 for our clients around the world. We very much hope that we'll be able to see you and be able to physically see some of the latest Metaverse retail applications and innovations. Thank you very, very much indeed for joining us. You've literally just landed. We'll let you now unpack in your hotel room in New York, and hopefully we'll give you a little bit of time to go to B&H, because no technology person can possibly go to New York without a visit to B&H. Noam Levavi, the CEO of byondXR. It's been a pleasure and delight. Thank you very much indeed for talking to us.